Hello, thank you for watching STONEZIA Talk Media Show and welcome to my channel. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go on YouTube, STONEZIA Talk Media Show, on Facebook, STONEZIA Talk Media Show, so that if I post a video, you'll be one of the special people to be notified. What you say? I want to say, let me hold your pa, let me hold your into a very topic, bro, topic bro, no. Now, you red flags in relationships, red flags in relationships. What you say? So I know your baby since your home at the end say oh date you be and also what relationships be mu now who science here what you say you just need to think twice and see my talk show you didn't say red flags and signs of abusive relationship. What you say you can't abusive we have financial abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, and so forth. We neglect and all that. We have all that. What I say, but never become red flags. Red flags. Relationships. Red flags. And say, who dates you? Be no what I say, no one goes into a relationship, intending to be abused. Yet still it's happening. It's like a pandemic. You and I have had a situation whereby women have been killed by their husband, their spouse, their partner, and men too. I mean, we've heard, increasingly men are also being abused, in their relationships. What I say, men don't talk about that because I feel like sometimes it's the stigma that attached to it. It will cry, if the man is being abused in his relationship or matrimonial home, they can't come out and talk about it because they're so shy, or is the stigma attached to it. You understand? So men are being abused and women are being abused too, and no one goes into a relationship intending to be abused, but yet it's still happening. We've heard where an increasing number of women and increasing number of men are becoming involved in physical and dangerous relationships every year, every day, every month, every week. You understand? So there are certain things that you need to watch out for. If you see those things in the beginning of the relationship, then you should have a conversation, talk about, work on it, and see where it goes. Part of the problem is that abusive relationship typically develop over time. As I say, typical abusive relationship, I mean, it doesn't happen. It's not an event. So, see, there be over time, kakra, then now brush you with your son until our brains here, maybe I say those things. But over time, and they develop and okay, the abusive behavior often starts so small that they are hardly noticeable or can be easily explained. Ati aseɛ ɛna meka nketenkete oebia say ɔka sɛ fa bibi brɛ no na sɛ wanyɛ ne on time na watea wo na ɔkyɛ sɛ no ɔdi watem verbally abuse ɔmfa ho sɛ ebia nipa wo ha na sɛ nipa nni hɔ na kyɛ sɛ wastarte ɛteatea wo ati aseɛ ɛtɔ de bi krampo na deɛ wonyɛ krampo no ɔse wayɛ na wafa so na ɔgyegye na ɔteatea na kyɛ sɛ wayɛ hegya na obisa ho sɛ what did I do? I didn't do anything wrong. I don't think this is wrong, and things like that. Ni nyinaa red flags. What I say, nkakra saa na ba bɛyɛ kɛseɛ na you brush it under the carpet or tia me or abreho adwuma mu ɔkɔɔyɛ no nɛ adwuma mu yɛ din nti no na ɔba yɛ anibu ayɛ then you make an excuses for them all the time, and sometimes when you approach them about it, they explain it. Oh me sorry, and then adwuma mu ayɛ din paa nti you're stressed, and then my friend is good. Just like they make little excuses to explain it, and then brush it away, like he just grabbed you, like in the heat of the argument he just grabbed your hand, in the heat of the moment, grab your hand and just let go, just like I mean, like we're just talking. Why? Because he's so angry, he's so upset that whatever is going on he can't control it. He needs to grab you like that. Those things. So when you're bema that's all yes I do when a signs a red flag, and no child say when any dating po and no me a grab all hands so to me to see, and you say oh warren a what I say when any war home ponana utimi ejutwetwetwonsa and you see, and it is all warren a and your advocates what you're watching STONEZIA Talk Media Show. We're talking about red flags. in abusive relationship. Red flags. Sa nneɛma wei nyinaa on your bema wɔ hɔ, on your ɔbaa wɔ hɔ, na sɛ wohu sa nneɛma wei nyinaa na ɛkyerɛw sɛ an abusive relationship. There's a problem. Either you sit down with the person, tell the person how you feel, go to a therapy, work on something before it gets too late, because it doesn't change. An abusive person doesn't change. But yes, it progresses, it be bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and the end result, you don't want to know that. Into say, oh, now date you be a sanya man kitty no what's now. That's why I say, okay, say baby, now I am into my name what's now. On found say, any power hana say any penny or tell to say aquala. As I say, the one year crumple or see why they be no amount why ha or say or chances say or no casano was sons and what chon or do it in a honor was so you be a red flag. So no be maybe we will not use that sister so poor beman and then in casa could you suban with dear. What I say, more temper and so those things. Into in casa, then you work on things. You can go to a therapy, you can go to counseling, work on it, those things. But we are not saying your sister, walk forward. We are not your bra, walk forward, because it's not your problem to deal with somebody who is abusive, and they blame their behavior on somebody. They don't take responsibilities of their action. Or you did that, that's why I did that. You did that, that's why I did that. I wouldn't have shake you if you didn't do that. I wouldn't have grabbed you if you didn't say that. I wouldn't have done that. Instead of taking action or responsibility for their behavior or for their action, they tend to explain it away and blame it on you, make you feel like you are at fault, or you don't know what you're doing, or they make you even feel stupid. What did they make kind of thing? Until like he just grabs you in a heat of the moment, like there's no need for it. We all adults, I mean, yes, you're angry, you can express yourself. If you want to scream, you can scream, but there's no point grabbing somebody and shaking them and doing all that. That's red flag. You don't do that. It can't, it can be crazy with everything that I'm saying. It can be crazy because you love this guy so much and you don't want to leave him. How can you leave a guy who just grabbed your arm? How can you leave a guy that you're so crazy about, that just shouted at you? How can you leave such a guy? Oh, he's a good guy. Apart from that, he's a good guy. He buys me bouquet, he treats me well, he gives me money, all those things. Yes, he gives you money, and he buys you flowers, he buys you chocolates and all that, but that doesn't make a relationship. Relationships are based on respect, understanding, and communication. Okay, if the person is not communicating, is always shouting, is always screaming, they can't hear you, they can't talk to you without screaming, they can't talk to you without shouting, they can't talk to you without humiliating you, making you feel like you don't know what you're doing. That is not that's not a relationship. So you're so crazy about this guy, even though sometimes our friends will see it and say, this behavior is not acceptable, and then you just make an excuse. Oh, he's tired, or he's having a bad time at work, or his mom is not feeling well, or he's having that. You make excuses for your boyfriends. Okay, you are enabling their abusive behavior. You make an excuse for them because you're so crazy in love about them. No, this is red flag. This is abusive relationship, and it's not going to change if you are tolerating it, if you're not speaking on it, if you are allowing him to treat you that way. He thinks it's acceptable. Okay, and sometimes when we talk about abusive relationship, I've said this before. Say sometimes those men who abuse their girlfriends and wives, sometimes most of them grew up in an abusive relationship. They saw their parents, maltreating their mother or insulting them, shouting, and those kind of behavior. They grew up in it. So doing it to you, omunim say wrong because it's normal to them, especially when it's normal. It's normal to scream on a woman. It's normal to hit a woman. It's normal for a man to sit down for his wife to cook and serve him dinner. It's normal for a woman to do all the house chores and all that. You understand? So sometimes they don't even know that what they're doing is wrong. So you need to have that conversation. If it worries you, if it troubles you, have that conversation and let them aware of what you're going through. Yes, you love him. You're so crazy. You don't want to leave him because he shouted at you. He grabs you. But trust me, if you don't work on it now and you're still there, he won't change. He won't see anything wrong with it. And the end result will be. And sometimes it is sudden, action, like all those things. Oh yeah, he's stressed, then he's shouting, then you're making an excuse for his behavior. He screams at you for being 5 minutes late or 10 minutes late, like, or you're going somewhere, you need to get ready and you need to be there like 10:30 and it's 10:40 and he's still late, and he's then he's screaming at you, shouting like the world is coming to an end. It's just like, and saying that sometimes my husband does, like when I'm going out, he said, I'm always late. My husband said, oh, I'm always late. And I was like, yes, I'm always late because I have to do this, I have to take care of my mother-in-law. I have to make sure that, she's had something to eat, she's comfortable in bed. I have to make sure that I fed my dogs, 4 dogs. I make sure that I have to feed them, make sure that the dogs have eaten, and then put them in the bed, and make sure that my daughter is okay, have a shower, get her dressed, and then I have to get myself ready. So why can't I be late? Because I'm doing all this and you're just sitting and waiting for us to go. Okay, probably if you help doing some stuff, would have been. So yeah, I mean, he doesn't shout, but he get upset because I'm always late. That's like, yes, I'm late because I'm doing all this thing. Probably if you do some and I do some, it would have been much easier. You understand? So if your husband or your boyfriend is shouting and screaming at you for being 5 minutes late and make you, that is not right. That's not right. Like, then you, after all, you make an excuse for, oh, he's having a tough week, he's having a bad week. That's what, no. I mean, if you're having a bad week and tough week, and so what? That's not my problem. It's something that you can sit me down and then we can discuss, and I'll hear what you have to say, and whatever I have to say to support you to overcome the stress that you're going through, I will do that. But I'm not expecting you, I don't expect you to take that whatever frustration you're going through on me, because it doesn't work like that. Relationship is based on a communication, a support, understanding, and respect. If you want to respect from me, you need to give me one. You can't it's give and take. You can't ask me to give you a respect whilst you don't give one. You understand? So I mean, we're talking about red flags in a relationship. You understand? And sometimes they apologize when they do all this. They apologize, usually and come after that, they apologize and tell you they're sorry and all that. Yes, they do, but I personally believe that if you apologize for certain behavior, I don't expect you to demonstrate it again. If you apologize for being whatever you say that that hurt me or offend me, I don't expect you to do it again because you apologize. But in those cases, when it comes to abusive relationships and red flags, they do it again and again and again, and they find a way to explain themselves smoothly for you to forgive them. And with time, it become a habit, and you become used to it. You adjust to that, and then you make excuses for them. Okay, his apology can be heartfelt and sincere, because that is that's the person, that's who he is. He's done it, he's done it a lot of times. So he's so good at apologizing and making you feel like he's sincere, he's so remorseful. He buys you a bouquet, a bunch of bouquet, chocolate, and then you forgive him, and you don't expect him to do that, but then he does it again and again and again. That is not right. We're talking about signs of abusive relationship. Signs of abusive relationship. We know things, stories be bria and young girls are being dying and being beaten by their boyfriends and all that because of all this jealousy and abusive and all that. It's not right. If you don't love the person, just let go. Like I said earlier on, work on it, talk about it, work on it. If it's not working, just go. You can't shout on anybody, you can't insult anybody, you can't grab anybody and and blame it on them. So, oh, I did that, it's because of you. If you didn't do that, I wouldn't have done that. If you didn't say that, I wouldn't have done that. No, you have to take responsibility for your action. And no one, yeah, it's okay, you can shout when you're upset, because personally, you do silly stuff, you say silly stuff before later on I say, oh, I can't believe I said that. And it's also as I said, then you apologize, you show remorse for it, and then you don't do it again. But when a bad habit, oh yeah, oh, blame me, then they blame it on you. Oh, I did that, it's because of you, I did that because of you. No, that is not right. That's not right. You're watching STONEZIA Talk Media Show. Today's topic is red flags and signs of abusive relationship. That's what we discuss. So watch the video Tell a friend about it, subscribe, like, and leave your comments so that anytime I post a video, you'll be one of the special people to be notified. I want your relationships to work. It's okay to have to be in a relationship. Find somebody who understands you, who respects you. Relationships are not perfect, else everybody will be married. But if you find one, make it your own and make it work. Communication, understanding, respect. Thank you so much. Blessed up to you all. Thank you. I love you for watching.